My name is Kelvin Yap and welcome to my Feng Shui channel. Today I'm going to touch on Chinese calendar, where all the calendars have been used by the Chinese. Hi, I'm Master Kelvin Yap and I'm an internationally renowned Feng Shui master. Reason being is that I have many students around the world. I have books all around the world that are available on Amazon as well. You can go to Amazon and check it out. I also learn from various Feng Shui masters and incorporate various methods in the practice. As of 2024, I have published 20 books, and all the books are available on Amazon as well as on my website. In 2016, I actually went to Russia to teach Qimeng Tunjia to Russian Feng Shui masters. So as you see from below, all those are my books at the bottom here. As you can see from here, I actually run the Road to Feng Shui Master program for those people who want to be a Feng Shui master. As you can see, there's the blue color one is actually the Feng Shui track, while the yellow color is actually the Qimeng Tunjia track. So for the blue color one is for you to become a Feng Shui practitioner. So we have the Senku Takao program or the Sanho program, as well as the Feng Shui practitioner program through mentorship, mentorship by me. As well as the Qimeng Tunjia program, you have the Sanho program as well as the Qimeng Tunjia practitioner program as well. So there's also mentorship provided in the Qimeng Tunjia program for you to become the Feng Shui master. As you can see from here, there's also a face-to-face classroom or distance learning available. So you can actually sign up for the face-to-face class when there's available, or you can immediately sign up for the distance learning. There will be a lifetime support by Master Kelvin Yap, by myself, so I will support you throughout my lifetime. There are also unlimited repeats and access to distance learning. So let's say you take the face-to-face classroom, you can actually repeat it in your distance learning as well, or you can take the distance learning and continue to repeat in the distance learning. So I will guide you along the way so that you can become a successful Feng Shui master. Chinese calendar. The calendar system that we all know is called the Gregorian calendar, or sometimes known as Western calendar, or the Christian calendar. This is because this was based on the birth of Christ, so Christian calendar, so I call it Christian calendar, and it is based on the orbit of the Earth around the Sun, and 1 year is equivalent to 365.25 days. That's where we got the leap year. Every 4 years, you got extra days on the fabric. So the Chinese has two types of calendar. The one that most people recognize is called the lunar calendar. That describes the moon path rotating the Earth. The other type, which is used in Chinese metaphysics and less well known, is also known as the Xia calendar or farmer calendar. Why is it called Xia calendar? It's because it was invented during the Xia dynasty. It's also known as the farmer calendar or Tong Su or Tong Sing in Cantonese, because traditionally it was used by the farmers for planting schedule. So farmers use it to time the planting and harvesting of crops. That's why, and then the Xia calendar is actually based on Earth rotating on the Sun, similar to what we have in the Western calendar or Gregorian calendar. Now let's go back to the lunar calendar or lunisolar calendar that we all talk about. The lunisolar calendar is based on new moon. Okay, so Chinese New Year is the first day of the first moon, like 初一, right? 正月初一 is actually Chinese New Year. Okay, the moon takes about 29.5 days to rotate around the Earth. So a month in the Chinese lunar calendar consists of either 29 or 30 days. That's why they got the big month or small month, right? Based on the number of days, so 29 or 30 days. So 29 days is called a small month, while 30 days is called a big month. Because of this, the one Chinese year is shorter by about 10 days. So after 3 years, an extra month has to be added. To be exact, an extra 7 months are added every 19 years. So after 19 years, there are actually extra 7 months. So this is called the metronic cycle. So why the extra means added is because the Chinese want to make sure that to align the lunar calendar with the solar calendar, right? So the 7 months additional is made so that the spring equinox always occur in the 2nd month. The summer solstice is in the 5th month. The autumn equinox is the 8th month, and the winter solstice is on the 11th month, right? 11th month of the lunar calendar, right? So the winter solstice always fall inside the 11th month, and the autumn equinox fall in the 8th month of the 八月, right? Always autumn equinox. So you'll notice that the 八月, where you have the mooncake festival, then make sure they align with the autumn equinox. Okay, so this is to ensure that Chinese New Year always fall around Li Chun or beginning of spring. So Li Chun is actually a solar event. Is the position of the sun at a particular position as related to the Earth. That's why it's called the Li Chun's event. So later I will cover that in the solar calendar side. So why we call it lunisolar calendar? Because there's an adjustment done to follow the sun. So the Chinese lunar calendar is actually adjusted to follow the solar. That's why you notice that if you look at the Malay calendar or the Muslim calendar, right? The calendar is slightly different in the sense that because the month, the Hari Raya Haji, the festivals are always minus 1 month as compared to the year before, right? Because they follow through lunar, whereas the Chinese using lunar solar, so they always adjusted add extra month to adjust the timing, and this is based on the rule I just described here. Now back to the solar calendar or the Xia calendar. So it's called the Xia calendar or 1,000-year calendar or Jiazi calendar. 1,000 years in 1年, they call it the 1,000-year calendar. Okay, the Xia calendar use a combination of heavily stamped and early branches to describe. If you want to know what is heavily stamped early branches, I have another video about this. Okay, so there are 10 heavily stamped and 12 early branches, and only the young heavily stem match the young early branches, and the yin heavily stems match with the yin early branches. So there are 5 yang and 5 yin heavily stems, and there are 6 yang and 6 yin early branches. Together there are total 60 combination. That's why it's called the 60 jiazi also. Okay, with a heavily stem from jiazi to guihai. So you see the table below is the 60 jiazi. So what happened is that you start from jiazi and all the way to guihai, and then you repeat again. So this is how the calendar are being mentioned. So you notice that people were trying to translate the calendars into animal sign. For example, jia is wood, zi is rats. So it become wood rats year, for example, if it's a jiazi year, right? So likewise for kui hai is actually pig. So kui is water. So that if the year is kui hai year, then there will be known as the water pig year. Right? That's how you work based on the element on the heavenly stems and the animal sign of the branches. So the Jiazi calendar, so the year, month, day, and hour are all represented by such combination of 60 Jiazi. Together they will form 4 pillars, and also known as 4 pillars or 8 character or 八字. So a person born in this particular date will have this 八字. That's why the 八字 about 8 characters. Okay, so Chinese hours is equal to the Western 2 hours. I mean, and the day start at 11 p.m. Right? So for example, 5th September 2010 at 3 p.m. is Geng Yin year, Jia Shen Man, Wu Wu day, and Geng Shen hour. And the 八字 is shown here. So if this person is born in this year, and then this is your 八字. So the 8 character or 八字 or 4 pillar analysis is based on these Jiazi calendars, right? So the year, month, day, and hour runs from Jia to Guihai, as I mentioned previously, and then start from Jia again. So it's never ending. It's go again and over and again and again. That's why it's called Jiazi calendar or 1,000-year calendar, because it's never end. So the history of the Chinese calendar, the 60-day cycle has been used for timekeeping since the ancient time, and go back to at least the 13th century BC or before Christ, during the Shang dynasty, which is around 1600 to 1046 BC. So the 60-month cycle is also very old. So it's been used for many years already. So 60-year cycle was introduced during the Han dynasty, during 202 BC to 220 BC, and is related to the orbital period of Jupiter. Okay, so some claim that the calendar was invented by the Yellow Emperor or the Huangdi in the year 2637 before Christ, which is during his 61st years of reign. Okay, so before 621 BC, the start of the moon was based on visibility of the crescent moon. So they normally, before that, they don't have the mean to calculate, so they had to observe the moon. After that, they managed to observe much, and then they start to calculating. So during the Zhou dynasty, the metronic calendar was used for determining the leap months, and then the leap month were always placed at the end of the year. So remember, we talk about the lunisolar calendar, you have extra leap month and stuff like that. So during the Chou dynasty, they introduced this leap month, and then they always put it at the last end of the year. So later then they start to adjust that. So leap month is it exists long time ago, where they adjusted the lunar calendar to coincide with the solar calendar. So in the year 104 BC, there is this Tai Chu calendar reform. The No Zhong Qi rules was used to determine the leap month, and then the month containing the December solstice was fixed to be 11 month. This is where they fixed that the so-called the 11th month to coincide with the winter solstice. Okay, during the Tang Dynasty, the calendar was reformed again in the year 619. They switched to follow the true moon. Okay, so this was inspired by the Indian Buddhist astronomer. And during the Yuan Dynasty, they reformed it again in the year 1280, and it was inspired by the Muslim astronomer. So they come and talk to the Yuan Dynasty. So as you all might not know, the Yuan Dynasty it was founded by Genghis Khan, and then the grandson is Kublai Khan. So that's where the Yuan Dynasty started. So the last calendar reform was in the year 1645 during the Qing Dynasty, and was implemented by the Jesus missionaries. Okay, it actually uses the true sun as a calendar. So in the 1644, this German guy called Adam Shaw, which is the Jesus missionaries, went to the new Qing ruler and presented his calculation for the upcoming solar eclipse. He was challenged by the Chinese and the Muslim astronomer in the Imperial Astronomical Bureau, and this guy won the calculation because the calculation was the best. So he was appointed the director of the bureau. Okay, the picture of him is on the right hand side. That's him. Right. So the following year, he formulated the current calendar rules for the Chinese calendar. Therefore, the current calendar that we're using now is actually reformed by him, by a Westerner, right? Where he uses the true sun path. So if you know that any reference to the calendar prior to 1644 is not accurate anymore, that's why it needs to be reformed. So take note that any feng shui formulas that's never been adjusted, or any date selections, or any prediction that's going to base on a calendar used before 1644 is not accurate anymore, right? Or if you use a system that is before 1644, then it had to be adjusted to follow the true sun. If not, whatever prediction or whatever thing that you do is not accurate, right? So the calendar is already out of sync in a sense. Next, I'm going to touch on the calendar itself, or rather the particular hour itself, okay, or each element of the Jiazhi calendar. So first, let's go touch on the hour. So the hour is based on the movement of Earth around the sun within a day. Right, so you know that one day is 24 hours. So you see the table on the left-hand side is where the time starts at 11 p.m. Every Chinese hour is 2 hours, right? So Zi hour, Chou hour, Yin hour, and so on and so forth. Okay, so new moon is defined as a convergence of the sun and the moon, and the tail of the Big Dipper will point to the Zi direction to indicate the middle of the Zi hour during the new moon or in the Zi month. This is how the ancient time, the hour is being determined. Okay, in each succeeding 2 hour period of the same day, the tail of the Big Dipper would point to each of the corresponding direction. For example, during the new moon in Zi month, Chou hour, the tail of the Big Dipper point to the Chou direction. Okay, this is how they determine the hour during the ancient time. Right, so that's why it comes from every 2 hours. So how the ancient Chinese tell the time during the day? So since a long time ago, the Chinese have been using the sundial to tell the time. So for example, the picture below are all the sundials. So the one on the bottom left is a picture taken in the Forbidden City showing the sundial being used. So that's where the ancient time, someone will actually look at the sundial to determine the time. There's also the portable sundial on the right hand side. There are 2 portable sundial, and then the sundial is adjusted based on the season as well, because you know when the Earth moves around the sun, it's not really a real circle. It's actually eclipse in a sense. So because of the different distance between the sun and the Earth, the season is different, and then the shadow casting will be different as well. That's why they need to adjust the portable sundial to look at the actual time itself, the actual time of that particular time. So what happened at night when there's no sun? So how did they tell the time during at night? So at night, the ancient will use dripping water to keep track of the time. Okay, there will be a people to go around the city to hit the gong to inform everybody of the time. So if you look at the bottom left-hand corner, there's the ancient water clock. They actually have 3 buckets. Right? The top bucket pulled to the middle bucket, and the middle bucket pulled to the last bucket to show the time. So the water drip, and then there's a float that actually raise up to show the actual time itself. So when the water keep on and dripping from the top bucket to the middle bucket to the third bucket, the float will go up to tell the time. And then the ancient time teller will actually look at the indicator and go out and beat the gong. So 1 gong is 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. 2 gong is 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. and then 3 gong is 11 p.m. to 1 a.m. 4 gong is 1 to 3, and 5 gong is 3 to 5. So at 5 gong, normally people will wake up. So ancient people actually wake up quite early when at the 5 gong, right? So you will have a chance to watch those ancient Chinese drama. They will show people beat the gong at night. This is how it's being used to tell the time at night. Here's the formula to determine the hour heavenly stamp from the day heavenly stamps. So the hour heavenly stamp is using the formula called 5 reds formula, which is the 五属盾, right? It's a formula there. So basically, if it's the day heavenly stamp is 甲 or 子, right? Then the 子 hour start with 甲, okay? And then, so the example below, right? The day heavenly stamp start with 五, means the hour. The 子 hourly stamp start with 壬. So 五 day 子 hour is 壬子. So to find the sun hour, so example, you want to find the sun hour, what is the heavenly stamp of the sun hour, then you go from 壬子, 癸丑, 甲寅, 乙卯, 丙辰, 丁巳, 午午, 己未, and 庚申. So for 五 day, sun hour, the heavenly stamp is 庚. Okay, so the 壬子癸丑 is actually the 60 甲子 table, right? So you look at the 60 甲子 table, is one after another, the mapping. You will miss that one, you can actually go back to the previous slides, right? The previous few slides that talk about the 60 甲子 table when we talk about the calendar at that time, right? So this is based on the 60 甲子. It's moved from one combination to the other combination, right? So this is how you determine the hour heavenly stamp using the day heavenly stamps. Yeah, the 满甲子. So the 满甲子 is entirely based on the position of the sun relative to the earth qi, or called the 节气. So 节气 is the 12 seasons of the year, based on month. So you look at the table on your left hand side, you can see that yin month is actually it is the start of the season Li Chun, right? Beginning of the spring is where Chinese New Year is around there, and it always start around February 4th or February 5th. Okay, to be exact, the Li Chun starts when the sun is at 315 degree longitude relative to the earth. So basically what happened is that when the Chinese take the earth as the center of the location, so earth looking out, you can see the sun moving around us. So when the sun is at a certain degree, like 315 degree during the particular month, this is where Li Chun starts. So Li Chun only start at 315 degree when sun is at certain position up on the sky. That's how they determine each particular 节气. So likewise, the same for the rest, like 清明, 立夏, 立秋, and so on and so forth. So the 12th season, the 12th month, is based on the position of the sun relative to earth. Right? Of course, we know that the earth rotates around the sun, but then because we are at the earth itself, so we have to see where is the position of the sun relative to the earth. Right? So that's the months come about. Here's an example of the month. For example, based on the solar information in 2016, Li Chun, or beginning of spring, start at 4th February 2016 at 17:45. This is where the sun is at 315 degree based on the celestial longitude. If you don't know what is celestial longitude, there is a topic about it as well on time and space, so you can actually watch that video. Okay, so therefore on the 4th February 2006 at 17:44 is still a Chou month. Remember, Li Chun is Yin month, is a tiger month. Right? So at 17:44 is still a Chou month. And using the 60 jiazi system on 4th February 2016, before 17:45 it will be Ding Chou month. So after 17:45 it will be Geng Yin month, right? So until 5th March 2016, 11:42. So at 5th March 2016, 11:42, it will be Xing Mao month, which is the following month already, right? So all these months actually follow through solar calendars, right? Through sun position, based on the calendar reform. Here's a formula to determine the month heavenly stems. So the month heavenly stem can be derived using the year heavenly stem, using the 5 tiger formula or Wu Fu Dun, right? So basically the formula is on the table. I know the Chinese words is on the left, and then the right hand side is the table is the formula itself. So Jia and Ji, the month heavenly stem for Yin is Bing, and so on and so forth. So for example, for Geng year, month is Wu Ying. So the month start with Wu Ying. So to find the Shen month, then you have Wu Ying, Ji Mao, Geng Chen, Xing Si, Ren Wu, Kui Wei, Jia Shen. So month is Jia Shen. Okay, so this month, the question mark here is actually Jia. Right? So this way, how you use the year to determine the month heavenly stems. Oh, the year starts at Li Chun, as I mentioned previously, which is around 4th or 5th February. Okay, so remember, don't follow Chinese New Year. Chinese New Year doesn't determine the start of the year. The start of the year is always around 4th or 5th February. So where the animal sign is transit, right? And some claim that this is not correct because the year should start at Dongzhi. Some say, oh, because it should start at winter solstice instead of where the Yang Qi is. Okay. So, as you all know, Chinese New Year always fall on the first day of the second moon after Dongzhi, right? The Chinese New Year, the Chu Yi, right? Chinese New Year falls on the first day of the new moon, closest to Li Chun. That's why they want to always position Chinese New Year to around Li Chun. That's why in Chinese New Year they also call it the Chun Jie, because they want to follow the Li Chun, right? So Chinese New Year fall on the first day of the next new moon after Da Han. So this is the formula to determine when around Chinese New Year. So they adjusted the calendar based on this formula. Okay, so you always notice that Chinese New Year always fall after January 20th, and normally around February. Sometimes it will be end Jan, but normally it's around February, so that they try to make it like the Li Chun and the Chinese New Year around the same time, right? That's where it happens. Next, I'm going to move on to a bit about talk about Sui and Nian. Okay, Sui is called year, and Nian. Okay, what's the difference between the two? Okay, Sui is normally referred to the age of the person. For example, I am 10 years old. Okay, that is called 10 岁. Okay, 10 years old, Sui. Okay, so in Chinese culture, there's no age 0, so we don't have someone called age 0. We always start with year 1. Okay, so when the person is born, it's called 1岁, 1 year old. Right, and furthermore, the Chinese culture during the Dongzhi, the family member will get together and eat glutinous rice ball. So after Dongzhi, they say Dongzhi is actually winter solstice is around 22nd or 23rd December. Old folks will always say, "Oh, you are 1 year old." So basically, this is what they use it to determine. Okay, Sui is also referred to Sui star or planet Jupiter. Okay, so most in ancient time, they use planet Jupiter to determine the year. Okay, so Nian, what is Nian? Nian is referring to the year. So Chinese New Year is called 过年. So that's why the difference between Sui and Nian, right? It's to people who don't know this, they thought it's the same, but actually it's a difference in this. So Tai Sui, what is Tai Sui? So astrologically, Tai Sui is actually reference to planet Jupiter. Tai Sui is an imaginary heavenly body that pointed by the tail of Big Dipper when the planet Jupiter appeared at the opposite of the branch where the tail of the Big Dipper pointed to. For example, in 2017, Tai Sui is Yo, so it's a rooster year, right? At the early branches. So Jupiter is at Mao, okay, at which is opposite of the of rooster. So Jupiter is at Mao, which is the rabbit, and the tail of Big Dipper is pointing to Yo, which is the Tai Sui. So here is the pictures representing what I mentioned just now. So this is the law pan of a Big Dipper. You notice that 2017 is the Yo year, which is the rooster, and then the opposite is of the tail of the Big Dipper is the Mao, which is where Jupiter is. Okay, so the Tai Sui is actually your Yo, the year that it is. So that's why they say the Yo. When a person born in the particular year, you fan Tai Sui, you know. So that's why this is how it come about and how you use it to calculate the Tai Sui. So in the Chinese culture, Tai Sui takes the form of 60 deities, where there is the same as 60 jiazhi. For example, 2017 is the Ding You year, so the Tai Sui is Ding You deity. So just note that the planet Jupiter, in actual fact, it takes about 11.8 Earth years to make a full cycle around the Sun. So the reference to Jupiter might cause some misalignment. So prior to the last calendar reform in 1644, the solar year and the Jieqi was calculated with a fixed formula. So some older calendars assume that there are 360 days in a year. So again, if it's based on the formula, this 360-day formula, or based on the position of the Jupiter, then it's all misaligned already, because Jupiter doesn't takes exactly 12 years. Okay, if you use the law pan to measure the planet Jupiter, it only take 11.8 years. It's supposed, and the formula used 12 years, so it's all misaligned. After thousands of years, all this will be misaligned already. So at a later stage, with the development of civilization, we realize that there are 365.25 days in a year. Okay, so example, 24 Jieqi was divided into 24, and each sub-season has about 15.21875 days. Right, so which give you about 365.25 days per year. That's where the actual solar event happened. However, in actual fact, the Earth actually take slightly less than 365.25, which is 365.24219 days to make one rotation around the Sun. So after much centuries, a calendar will become out of sync. So after 1644, the 24 Jieqi is aligned with the position of the Sun with reference to the Earth, and so far the current calendar actually follow the actual solar event, right? So if the formula that doesn't follow the actual solar event, then the calendar or the system is actually not accurate anymore. It's out of sync already. So we covered the year, month, and hour. Right, so now back to the day. So day are basically the continuous of 60 jiazhi from starting of the current calendar. So the Yellow Emperor Huangdi said to have created the current calendar during the Xia dynasty. That's why I call it Xia calendar. And this guy called Martino Martini is the 7th century Jesus who, based on Chinese historical record, dated the royal ascension of Huangdi to 2697 BC as a starting point of the Chinese calendar. That's where the Chinese calendar started at that time. Okay, so when Sun Yat-sen declared the foundation of People's Republic of China on the 2nd February 1912, he dedicated the 2nd February 1912 was the 12th day of the 11th month of the year 4609, which brings the starting point of the Chinese calendar to 2698 BC. Okay, and according to this guy called Helmer, the difference of 1 year is because those who use 2698 BC as the first year probably want to have a year 0 at the starting point. Okay, assuming that Yellow Emperor starts his year with a winter solstice of 2698 BC. Okay, if all this too technical to you, never mind. Okay, just follow the whatever calendars, or you can use the apps to generate the calendars to use. We come to the end of the topic of Chinese calendar. Of course, there are other topics that are of interest as well, like heaven, earth, and human. What is yang, yin yang? What is qi? What is bakua? Hetu, luosu, time and space. Remember, I talked about the celestial coordinates. You can watch the time and space video where the astronomer of Chinese mathematics is being used to present it. If you're not sure what is heavenly and stem, there's a video on heavenly stems and early branches as well. Thank you for watching. Please continue to subscribe to watch my other topic video as well. So my website is here, www.fengshui-hacks.com. I have a blog as well. There's many articles that you can actually go and read at your free time. I have Instagram where you can subscribe to. I have Facebook page where you can go and like, so that when there's posting coming up, you can actually watch it. You can also subscribe to my YouTube channel, where all the video will be posted there, as well as the TikTok channel where all the video will be there as well. You're interested in the distance learning, please go to this website here, www.fengshui-hacks.com/wp/courses, where you can have all the courses there. You can actually go and start taking courses from there. You can just sign up the courses and then you'll be given access to there. Thank you. Hope to see you in the other topic.